Well, the key points in my presentation today were basically focusing on the outlook for Australia and interest rates and the exchange rate. The global backdrop at the moment, there are lots of storm clouds out there on the horizon. Our view is that we're likely to see very weak growth in the North Atlantic economies, but China and Asia look very positive, and we expect those economies to keep growing quite strongly. That means strong demand for Australian commodity exports, and in turn it means higher prices for our commodities ahead. So that's a pretty positive backdrop for Australia, even though parts of the global economy are still weak. On the domestic context, we've had a period where Australia avoided a recession when practically every other industrial economy in the world did have a recession, and we're now well into the recovery phase, and in fact with an unemployment rate of 5.1%, unemployment is actually approaching the danger zone for the Reserve Bank, which we see as under 5%. In other words, when unemployment goes below 5%, the RBA runs the risk that the inflation rate will go to 3% or higher out of its target band. So we think the Reserve Bank will come back and increase interest rates late in 2010 and also a little further in 2011. So we're looking at a peak in the cash rate of 5.5%. It's currently 4.5%. When we look at the Australian dollar, at the moment it's been knocked around by the fears of sovereign debt crises in Europe and negative investor sentiment, but we think eventually that will settle down, and the rising commodity prices, higher interest rates from the Reserve Bank will push the currency to 90 cents or perhaps a little higher by the end of the year, and then we see it basically levelling out at around those levels. In the medium term, we think the currency now is destined to travel in a range of, say, 85 to 90 cents over the next decade. So I guess for anyone hoping that the currency will fall to help their businesses that perform better on low currencies, I guess our message is, we're sorry, but we think you'll have to get used to a higher currency. So, looking ahead, we think the outlook for Australia is quite positive. There will be some potholes along the way, but basically we can expect a reasonably well-growing economy and, unfortunately, though, higher interest rates and, for some people, a higher exchange rate.